The late 1960s in the San Francisco Bay Area represented a vibrant tapestry of cultural shifts, free expression, and burgeoning countercultures. Yet beneath this surface of peace and progress, a chilling shadow began to spread, cast by an unseen predator who would become known as the Zodiac Killer. This phantom terrorized Northern California with a series of brutal murders and cryptic messages that taunted law enforcement and gripped the nation in fear. The first widely acknowledged victims were David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, two teenagers gunned down in their car on Lake Herman Road in Benicia in December 1968. 6 months later, in July 1969, Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau were attacked in a similar fashion in Vallejo. Mageau miraculously survived, offering a hazy description of their assailant. But what truly set the Zodiac apart was his audacious communication with the press. He sent intricately coded letters to local newspapers, boasting about the murders and threatening more violence if his messages weren't published. These letters included complex ciphers, some of which he claimed held his identity. The taunting nature of his correspondence, often signed off with a distinctive crosshair symbol, added a layer of profound psychological horror to his crimes. The Zodiac wasn't just a killer. He was a phantom tormentor, reveling in the fear and confusion he sowed. The Bay Area, once a beacon of hope and freedom, found itself under the oppressive cloud of an enigma that seemed determined to remain unsolved. Among the Zodiac's most unsettling communications were his ciphers. The first, the Z88 Cipher, containing 408 symbols, was dispatched in 3 parts to the Vallejo Times-Herald, the San Francisco Chronicle, and the Examiner in early August 1969. Demanding front-page publication, the Zodiac brazenly threatened a weekend rampage if his demands were ignored. The newspapers, under immense pressure, complied. Within a mere week, a local schoolteacher, Donald Harden, and his wife, Betty Harden, successfully deciphered the convoluted message. It was a rambling, boastful text, riddled with misspellings and disturbing justifications for his homicidal urges, but crucially, it did not reveal his name. This partial victory for law enforcement was quickly overshadowed by the killer's continued escalation. A second cipher, the Z340, containing 340 symbols, was sent in November 1969 and proved far more resistant to decryption. Unlike the relatively straightforward substitution cipher of the Z408, the Z340 employed more complex methods, including homophones and nulls, which effectively frustrated even the most skilled cryptographers at the FBI and NSA. For decades, the Z340 remained an impenetrable wall, a silent testament to the Zodiac's cunning and a constant source of intrigue for those obsessed with the case. The inability to crack this code fueled rampant speculation about the killer's intelligence and the tantalizing possibility that his identity lay hidden within its cryptic symbols. Amateur sleuths and professional code breakers alike spent countless hours poring over its intricate patterns, meticulously searching for a breakthrough that continually eluded them. The allure of the unbreakable code became inextricably intertwined with the mystique of the Zodiac himself, each reinforcing the other in the public imagination. As the 1970s progressed, the Zodiac's letters and his signature crosshair symbol eventually tapered off, but his reign of terror continued to cast a long shadow over the Bay Area. His last confirmed victim, taxi driver Paul Stine, was brutally shot in San Francisco in October 1969. This murder brought the chilling reality of the Zodiac's presence into the very heart of the city, and a piece of Stine's bloodied shirt, sent by the killer, only intensified the horror and frustration for investigators. Police pursued numerous suspects, with Arthur Lee Allen becoming the most prominent, but they were never able to conclusively apprehend him. The scarcity of concrete evidence, the continued elusiveness of the ciphers, and the sheer cunning of the Zodiac continued to plague the investigators. The case gradually went cold, but the phantom never truly vanished. Every time a new serial killer emerged, the Zodiac's name would resurface, a stark reminder of his successful evasion and his persistent, chilling presence. Books, documentaries, and burgeoning internet forums kept the story alive, each new generation attempting to unravel his enduring puzzle. For years, the Z340 and the other unsolved Zodiac ciphers remained formidable challenges for cryptographers. Everyone who delved into them understood that within their complex sequences might lie the killer's identity, or at the very least, clues to his thought process or ultimate destination. The FBI and NSA had dedicated their brightest minds to the task, yet the cipher stood firm in its complexity. With the advent of the internet, the case found a new lease on life. Online forums and communities emerged, where amateur codebreakers from around the world pooled their knowledge and efforts. These platforms became a vast, crowdsourced operation, with individuals meticulously performing their part, searching for patterns or proposing novel theories. But the Z340 defied them all. Every time a new algorithm or software was developed, it was tested against the Z340, and every time, the cipher emerged victorious. Its unsolved nature solidified the Zodiac as a modern myth, a shadow that still loomed over the Bay Area. Then, in December 2020, as the world grappled with the unprecedented challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, a stunning announcement pierced through the gloom. A dedicated team of 3 individuals, David Oranchak, an American web designer, Sam Blake, an Australian mathematician, and Jarl van Eyck, a Belgian programmer, successfully cracked the Z340 cipher. This was no miraculous overnight discovery, but the culmination of years of relentless dedication, refined computing power, and a shrewd application of classical cipher-solving techniques. The decrypted message revealed a rambling, boastful text. "I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me," followed by a chilling and deeply disturbing line, "That wasn't me on the TV show, which brings up a point about me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner, because I now have enough slaves to work for me where everyone else has nothing when they reach paradise, so they are afraid of death. I am not afraid because I know my new life is life in paradise, that which will be death." This decrypted code unequivocally confirmed that the Zodiac, even a year after his most active period of crimes, was still very much engaged and keenly aware of the media attention surrounding him. It offered an unsettling glimpse into his psyche, a remorseless, almost godlike figure who viewed death as a liberation, a means to an end where his victims would become his slaves in a perverse afterlife. Yet despite the psychological insights, the deciphered message contained no explicit mention of the killer's name. The resolution of the Z340, while a monumental achievement in cryptography, left the central mystery, the Zodiac's identity, tantalizingly unsolved. It did, however, ignite a renewed sense of hope within the cold case community. Were there more ciphers yet to be discovered? Had the Zodiac left behind another message, perhaps an even more direct one, that had simply been overlooked? The collective consciousness, spurred by this breakthrough, once again turned its focus to the shadowy figure, hoping that one solved puzzle would lead to another, and finally, to the truth. Years passed after the Z340 was finally cracked, yet the Zodiac's true identity remained stubbornly elusive. Investigative agencies and amateur sleuths meticulously combed through the decoded message, searching for any subtle clue, any hidden meaning that might point to a suspect. However, despite their diligent efforts, no tangible evidence emerged that definitively linked the text to a specific individual. The public interest, however, never waned. The Zodiac case persisted as one of the most intensely discussed unsolved mysteries globally. People remained captivated by the killer's riddles, drawn by the chilling blend of his cunning and the sheer brutality of his crimes. The feeling of an unresolved terror continued to linger, a testament to the Zodiac's enduring impact on the collective psyche. Then, in the summer of 2025, an event transpired that thrust the Zodiac case back into the headlines, and this time, in a way no one could have possibly predicted. Sarah Chen, a meticulous postgraduate history student, was diligently working within the digital archives of the San Francisco Public Library. Her specific project involved sifting through digitized microfiches of old newspapers and obscure local community notice boards from the early 1970s. Her research aimed to analyze the disappearance epidemic that subtly but unsettlingly impacted the Bay Area throughout the late 60s and early 70s, often overshadowed by the more sensational crimes. As she scrolled through a grainy, faded scan of an August 1970 Vallejo community notice board, her eyes snagged on a peculiar, diminutive advertisement tucked away in the Lost and Found column. Its format was distinctly odd. It read, "Lost, my pet. He has wandered far. Find him at," followed by a line of symbols. These symbols strikingly resembled the Zodiac's infamous Z340 cipher, yet they possessed subtle, almost imperceptible variations. The entire sequence comprised exactly 88 symbols, an entirely new, previously unseen Zodiac fragment, which would soon be designated as the Z88. Sarah's eyes widened, a jolt of disbelief mixed with profound excitement coursing through her. Could it be possible? A new Zodiac cipher, lying dormant for decades on a local notice board, hidden in plain sight, completely overlooked by generations of investigators and enthusiasts. Her hands trembling, she immediately took a high-resolution screenshot and, without a moment's hesitation, forwarded it to her history professor, Dr. Elias Vance, a renowned expert in digital archiving. Dr. Vance, recognizing the profound significance of the discovery, wasted no time and promptly contacted the FBI. The news, as it always does in such cases, spread like wildfire through the tight-knit community of cryptographers and true crime aficionados. The very same experts who had meticulously worked on cracking the Z340 were swiftly recalled to action. The race to decipher this new Z88 cipher had officially begun. The Z88, despite its relatively small size of 88 symbols, proved to be no less intricate than its predecessors. Cryptographers initially assumed it would mirror the daunting complexity of the Z340, but upon closer inspection, distinct new patterns and methodologies became apparent. For days, an intense collaborative effort unfolded. Expert analysts from various intelligence agencies worked tirelessly alongside independent cryptographers and the vast, engaged network of online communities. The digital forums, which had briefly quieted after the Z340 solution, erupted with renewed fervor, each participant eagerly proposing their theories and potential partial solutions. It was a true testament to the power of collective intelligence, fueled by a shared obsession with the enigmatic killer. Ultimately, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Elena Petrov, an independent cryptographer based in London, known for her unconventional approaches to historical codes. Working remotely, Elena meticulously analyzed the Z88, recognizing that it was not a simple substitution cipher like the initial Z408, nor an exclusively complex homophonic one like the Z340. Instead, she painstakingly determined that it was a sophisticated form of a grill cipher. This method involved writing the message onto a grid and then revealing specific letters by looking through strategically placed perforations or holes on a superimposed template, the grill. Elena discovered that the Z88 contained not just one hidden message, but two distinct ones, depending on the orientation of the invisible grill. The first message, revealed when the grill was aligned in a particular way, was chillingly direct. "I am watching you sleep. The next one is yours." This was a straightforward, terrifying threat, unambiguously aimed at a specific implied individual. It was a stark reminder that even after years of silence, the Zodiac's menacing voice could still echo from the past. The second message, revealed when the grill was precisely rotated, A.L. Hastings, 47 Maple Ave, Vallejo. The key is in his mind. This second message, the crucial kernel of the Z88, exploded like a bombshell. This was no abstract riddle or boastful taunt. This was a name, an address, and a profoundly unsettling hint. The Z340 had offered a glimpse into the killer's twisted psyche, providing an understanding of his motivations. But the Z88 had provided a new, tangible lead. A.L. Hastings, at 47 Maple Ave in Vallejo. The connection was undeniable, a cold thread suddenly pulling taut across decades. The FBI, now with renewed vigor, immediately launched an intensive investigation. In collaboration with the Vallejo Police Department, they quickly pinpointed the address, 47 Maple Ave. It led them to an unassuming, somewhat dilapidated house that had stood quietly for decades. Neighbors, interviewed by startled investigators, recalled a reclusive, elderly man named Arthur Hastings who had resided there for many years. He was remembered as a quiet, bookish individual who largely kept to himself, seemingly living in his own isolated world. Records indicated that he had passed away peacefully in the late 1990s from natural causes. He had no known next of kin, and his meager estate, including the house, had been bequeathed to a local charity upon his death. This meant no living relatives to interview, no immediate access to personal effects beyond what might have been left behind. Investigators painstakingly searched through old property records and, crucially, managed to locate a dusty box of Arthur Hastings' personal effects, discovered in the attic during a recent renovation by the charity that had inherited the house. Among these items was a worn, leather-bound diary, meticulously kept through the 1960s and 1970s. The diary itself was filled with mundane details of daily life, philosophical musings, and even weather observations. However, scattered throughout its pages were peculiar doodles and cryptic symbols, strikingly reminiscent of the Zodiac's known ciphers, though often incomplete or seemingly experimental. More profoundly, the diary contained numerous references to The Most Dangerous Game, a short story by Richard Connell, which the Zodiac himself had famously referenced in one of his chilling letters to the press. But the most unsettling discovery was a phone number, scribbled repeatedly in the diary on several different pages, sometimes circled, sometimes underlined. It was a direct match to the phone number of one of the Zodiac's confirmed victims, Darlene Ferrin. Records showed that Ferrin, a taxi driver, had indeed given Hastings a ride on one of her last documented fares, a chilling, previously unknown connection. This confluence of evidence, the Z88 decryption, the diary's cryptic content, and the specific mention of Darlene Ferrin's phone number, pointed unequivocally to a new, powerful suspect, Arthur Hastings. But was this circumstantial evidence enough to definitively prove he was the Zodiac? The ideal scenario would have been to obtain Hastings's DNA sample for comparison with the DNA found on Zodiac's letters and victims' clothing. However, his body had been cremated shortly after his death, precluding any definitive DNA analysis. This absence of direct forensic proof became the new, frustrating hurdle for the investigators. The investigative team delved deeper into Hastings's past. Records revealed a history of minor criminal infractions in the 1950s, including petty theft and minor assaults, suggesting a nascent propensity for antisocial behavior. More disturbingly, his old-school records revealed a history of mental instability, noting him as extremely intelligent but socially withdrawn, with episodes of pronounced detachment. He harbored a distinct fascination with the concept of a great hunter and a perverse admiration for stories of cunning predation, traits that chillingly aligned with the Zodiac's self-proclaimed hunting persona. Furthermore, a dusty old Remington 12-gauge shotgun was found in his former residence. While ballistics comparisons were attempted with existing evidence from the Zodiac crime scenes, the deteriorated state of the original evidence, combined with the passage of decades, yielded no conclusive match. However, the most compelling evidence continued to emerge from the very heart of the puzzle, Arthur Hastings's diary. The Z88's second message, "The key is in his mind," proved to be a direct instruction to look within the suspect's own thoughts. The code-breaking team, now intimately familiar with Zodiac's idiosyncratic methods, treated certain repeated doodles and fragmented symbolic sequences within the diary as yet another personal cipher. It was a smaller, more intimate code, revealing not boasts or threats, but chilling insights into Hastings' own psyche, his evolving desire to hunt, and a strange, twisted perception of a game. This final deciphered fragment contained deeply personal references, fragments of childhood memories, unsettling observations about human vulnerability, and repeated unsettling phrases like, "lambs to the slaughter." It was not a confession, but a disturbing window into a mind consumed by dark fantasies, a perspective that had never before been glimpsed. This personal cipher solidified the growing conviction among investigators that Arthur Hastings was indeed the Zodiac Killer. The news spread like wildfire through the media and the true crime community. News outlets immediately began to publish the story of Arthur Hastings, the quiet, reclusive man from Vallejo, now posthumously identified as a prime suspect in one of history's most notorious cold cases. Zodiac theorists erupted, some immediately embracing Hastings as the long-sought killer, citing the undeniable coincidences and the eerie alignment of the clues. Others, however, remained skeptical, cautiously pointing out the purely circumstantial nature of the evidence, the lack of definitive DNA, and the possibility of a cleverly orchestrated misdirection by the actual killer. For the families of Darlene Ferrin and the other victims, this new development offered a fragile yet profound sense of hope. After decades of living without answers, a path to potential closure had finally materialized. The FBI officially declared Arthur Hastings a person of interest in the Zodiac case, citing the overwhelming convergence of the Z88 decryption, the unsettling contents of his diary, and the chilling connection to Darlene Ferrin. They emphasized that the investigation remained open and active and that every possible angle would continue to be pursued. However, without Hastings's DNA, and due to his cremation, the case would, in many respects, remain tantalizingly short of a definitive, irrefutable conclusion. The Zodiac Killer case remains one of the most profound and unsettling mysteries in criminal history, a spectral presence that continues to haunt the annals of Bay Area lore. The discovery of the Z88 cipher and the subsequent unearthing of Arthur Hastings's hidden life has undoubtedly added a critical new chapter to this enduring enigma. Was Hastings truly the Zodiac? Or was this yet another elaborate misdirection, a final cunning act by the killer to further obscure his true identity? For some, these new revelations have brought a measure of peace, a plausible answer to a decades-old torment. For others, the mystery has only deepened, shrouded in new layers of questions and uncertainties. The Zodiac Killer's chilling impact continues to resonate through media, popular culture, and the enduring fascination with true crime. His story, his ciphers, and his elusive identity have captivated generations, drawing them into a macabre dance of deduction and speculation. Whether Arthur Hastings was truly the Zodiac or not, one undeniable fact remains. The Zodiac Killer, with his terrifying legacy and cunning intellect, will forever stand as a chilling symbol of the unsolvable, an enduring enigma that continues to perplex and terrify.